Hello there. My name is Eyo Kemba, and this is the CIA show here on TAF TV. Now, I came across an actor. He was saying that for you to live in Nigeria and not feel the heat in Nigeria, what he consciously does is each time he wakes up in the morning, he just slides to his phone and reads news from other countries. That's quite funny. Now, according to him, he says the news in Nigeria tends to give people headache and high BP. Now, it is quite funny because the heat that we're feeling as a nation currently cannot be compared to the heat that is being felt in other countries. For the fact that Nigeria is going through a lot doesn't mean that other countries are not going through a lot. For the fact that our news are constantly giving Nigerians high BP doesn't mean that if you get to listen to other countries' news, you will not get to hear the days they cry, the days they mourn. So these things keeps evolving. Whether you run from the news in Nigeria to another country, you always get to find one or two things you don't like about that country. So my point exactly, we should love to listen to what we have for you, just like what I'm about to tell you today. And this is in regards to our POS operators, the relationship they have between, the relationship that exists between our POS operators and our bankers, because Nigerians of late have been complaining about the charges. Now I can ask you, how much is 5,000? If you get to withdraw 5,000 in your area, in your own state, how much is 5,000? Because most persons are saying they are withdrawing 5,000 of late as at 300 naira. Most persons are saying no, it is 150. This is what we're bringing to you on our CIA corner today. Remember, here in CIA, we bring to you the best of commentaries as it keeps unfolding in regards to the latest update on the newspaper headlines. So sit back and relax while we're going on a quick break, and I'll bring you details of the story after the break. Alright, you're welcome back. Now let's dive into the story properly. Now, just like I told you today, I'll be giving you analysis as it keeps unfolding in different states and how different state operators, I'll call them state operators now, sorry, POS operators in different states are charging. All right, now gradually, if Nigerians are actually taking cognizance of the fact that our POS are being replaced by ATMs, because most Nigerians don't want to go to banking halls. They prefer the little kiosks of POS stand, the small merchants we're seeing around our street, because it is easier and more accessible to access funds, no matter how late it is. You can make withdrawals even at 10 p.m. late at night. So most persons prefer going to their little merchants on the street rather than having to go and queue in banking halls and our ATM. So for today, just like I told you earlier, I'll be giving you reviews in different states in regards to how they are charged, because Nigerians are complaining that the charges that our POS merchants are giving us these days is way too much. It's beginning to rise like dollar. All right, now, so first on our headlines here, we're seeing Akwa Ibom residents cry out. Residents who spoke to the Vanguard newspaper in Akwa Ibom expressed fear over the fraudulent activities of some POS operators. We will not disregard the fact that these persons are also helping us. If we want to look at the point of advantage, the POS merchants are actually helping us. But in the other hand, they are doing more harm than good. So most residents in Akwa Ibom State, just like we have here, they are complaining about the fraudulent activity that is currently going on with our POS operators. Now, a resident of Akwa Ibom said, Mr. Udo, made this note to the Vanguard newspaper when he said, sometimes there is no money to withdraw at the POS. You withdraw 5,000 with 150, sometimes 200 naira. They bill you 300 for 10,000. 2 weeks ago, I went to withdraw 20,000 at the POS, University of Uyo, and I was charged 800 naira. Now, it is quite funny because it looks as if, okay, every POS has its own speculated amount where they want to charge. That means I can just decide to own a POS machine and say, for today, I'm charging all my customers 200 naira for 5,000. I'm charging, another person will say, okay, for today, I'm charging my customers 300 naira, 350 naira, for the same amount, 5,000. Now it looks as if, now it takes us back to this naira redesign. Assuming government actually, just like they started during that naira redesign, where these authorities of POS merchants came up and became so high that they can just hike up price and expect Nigerians to pay because there was no cash flow. Now, assuming government actually regulated it and brought it to book, as at that time, maybe most of these fraudulent activities must have been checkmate. Now, moving on here, we're seeing another state. We're seeing Edo State. We're seeing here, it says, POS defrauding us in Edo. Many residents of Edo also complain about non-availability of cash at ATMs and charges that comes with using POS. Now, it is quite funny because of late, just like I said, our POS is replacing our ATMs. Now, it looks as if it is intentional that all of a sudden our ATM machines in our banks are no longer working. And it looks as if, okay, this is like a planned work, that all of a sudden you're going to ATMs that were functional before this point of service, this POS came out to play. They are no longer functioning. Why? It's a big question mark to our bankers now. If you go to the bank, you rarely can see most ATMs that were functional before now still functional. Now it is almost impossible because our bankers now prefer to sell out these funds that Nigerians willingly brought for safekeeping. They prefer to sell it out to POS merchants and make extra profits rather than loading it on ATM, because that is the basic truth. Whether they like it or not, that's the basic truth. They, rather than loading it on our ATMs for Nigerians to access, they prefer selling it out to POS merchants so they can make extra profits. That's to say, they keep charging, they charge you for SMS, they charge you for alert, and they still sell out your money. Wow. I bet you very soon all of us will become bankers, because it looks as if there is more money now in the banking sector than every other sector. Now we are seeing still in Edo. I was shocked when another resident said today many ATM points hardly have enough cash. This forced us to resort to POS operators. This forced us to resort to POS operators, and they milk us. I went to a high-profile hotel in Benin City and wanted to use the ATM. I was shocked when it said I could not withdraw more than 5,000. After visiting several other bank ATM points, which without cash withdrawal, I was forced to use POS. In most parts of Benin, they charge 300 naira per 10,000. So you can imagine how much you would charge when you want to withdraw a large amount. So it is the same story everywhere. Now, this is coming from a resident in Benin City, just like we heard in Akwa Ibom. POS operators in Bayelsa State have gradually become the new bankers in town. That is quite true, because it looks as if people get to prefer, just like I said, people get to prefer our POS merchants to queuing in banking halls. Now, that is the same story we're hearing in Bayelsa State. Now, in Bayelsa State, one of the respondents said, you withdraw 5,000 from a POS operator, they charge you 150, and 10,000, they charge you 300 naira. So it looks as if it's the same everywhere. Now, last night, from this same Bayelsa State, one other person is saying, last night I withdrew 20,000 and paid 500 naira. I don't understand what kind of monetary and financial policy this is. I wonder why Nigerian banks refuse to make cash available to customers. This is coming from another state. This is Bayelsa State. We've heard the same story in Akwa Ibom. We've heard the same story in Edo. We've heard the same story in Bayelsa. Now, it looks as if this is like a cabal that is currently going on, because it is quite unfortunate that Nigerians will have to go through this period. No, it is quite unfortunate that Nigerians are the ones actually feeling this heat. Now, moving on, we're seeing in Cross River State, we're seeing I bought 10,000 naira with 2,000 during the naira exchange hype. At that point, it went up to 3,000 to get 10,000. The naira redesign policy gave banks the leeway and I should say, extort money from their customers. After the exchange period, they withdrew cash from ATMs and handed it to POS operators. This is a sad situation. So it all boils back. To the point that the relationship that our POS operators are having with these bank officials is really not healthy, and is not helping Nigerians. Instead of looking for means to cut down the cost of living, now having to work so hard for months and going to deposit your money in the bank and still having to buy that same money that you labored for is hurting. So I feel at this point what the federal government should do, just like what they started doing during that Naira redesign, they should go back to their drawing board and bring back the good policy that will help every single Nigerian. Let's regulate these prices. You cannot be charging you cannot be a POS merchant and charge 300 naira for 5,000 while another person is charging 150 for the same amount. It is quite unfair. So at this point I feel what the federal government should do is to please look into the relationship of our bankers having to sell money, because most of these POS merchants, they will tell you that this money they are equally selling out to their customers in the street. They also buy this money from the bank. So the problem now boils back to the bank, because since the operators are complaining about the bankers, the customers are complaining about the operators. Operators are pointing fingers at the bankers. Now, we'll ask this question now, where are the bankers pointing their fingers to? So at this point, I feel the federal government should look into what our bankers are actually doing, the relationship that exists between our banking hall and our POS operators. So at this point, this is where we're drawing our curtains in regards to this story. And I want you to drop your comments. Tell me how much you're being charged for 5,000 in your own state. I have given you reviews of other states, so it don't look as if, okay, it is just that little merchant on your street that decides to hike the price. It is affecting everybody in different states, as long as we have POS operators all over the nation. So at this point, I want you to drop your comment. Do well to follow us up on all our social media handles so that we keep bringing you top headlines just like this one, and you will not get to miss anyone. Now, this has been the CIA Corner here on TAF TV, and I've been your co-host for today, Okeme. See you next time.